It's an abuse of power to remove an ambassador for political reasons because you don't like what they're doing, period.
It's bullshit.
On page 159, you were asked about the president's authority to release an ambassador for any reason, and your response was, quote, all ambassadors serve at the pleasure of the president, and that is without question. Everybody understands that, end quote. Do you remember saying that?
I do, and it's true.
It's an abuse of power to remove an ambassador for political reasons because you don't like what they're doing, period.
The president very clearly has that constitutional authority, correct?
He does.
Okay, well, most everybody apparently understands that, but doesn't include House Democrats. In the context of this impeachment inquiry, specifically addressing Ambassador Yovanovitch, who I know is a friend of yours, in alleging an abuse of power in a nationally televised interview, a member of this committee said, quote,
it's an abuse of power to remove an ambassador for political reasons because you don't like what they're doing, period.
It's an abuse of power to remove an ambassador for political reasons because you don't like what they're doing, period.
The president has the right to have ambassadors serve at his pleasure.
Okay, so you agree with me that we shouldn't impeach a president for exercising his constitutional authority?
I'm here as a fact witness to answer your questions. Your constitutional obligation is to consider the evidence before you.
Also, did you see this Eric Swalwell guy? He is a mental dwarf. Can you say mental dwarf? Because I know they burn a lot of words, and it's hard to keep track. They should put out an email every day with words burned today so that we know. You can't say lynch. You know why? Because the Democrats used to lynch black people from trees. The Democrats did. And they lynched Republicans and hung them from trees, too, because they're the Democrats. And really, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Swalwell was on the television on, I guess he was on CNN. And he actually had the temerity to say that President Trump can't fire ambassadors. You know, the Ukrainian ambassador that was fired, she was an Obama appointee. She was going around trashing Trump, bad-mouthing the president of the United States, who's her boss. And she was relieved of her, and that's just scratching the surface on what a pain in the butt she was. And so she lost her job as U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, and rightly so. And Eric Swalwell, who's a member of Congress and a lawyer and a brain-dead moron, said President Trump can't fire ambassadors if he doesn't like what they're doing. And he said politically and stuff, he can't just fire ambassadors just because he doesn't like their politics. And I'm just marveling at this. I'm absolutely amazed that any member of Congress, any lawyer, anyone with two brain cells to rub together who took a civics class in 5th grade would say anything that profoundly and remarkably stupid. Obviously, the President of the United States can fire or relieve of their duties any ambassador at any time for any reason because they don't like the color of the shoes they're wearing.
It's an abuse of power to remove an ambassador for political reasons because you don't like what they're doing, period.
That was the buzzer. No. Actually, you can fire every ambassador on the planet today for no reason whatsoever because you're the president. But this Schnupnik, isn't he like the chairman of something stupid? Look at him. I mean, the guy is just a moron. Where do we find such men? Where do we find such men? And how do they get into Congress? Oh, the Democrats run them and the media says they're great. These people are as dumb as Fredo Cuomo and Mika Brzezinski, and they're in Congress. Of course, the president can fire any ambassador at any time for any reason or for no reason at all. The person serves at the pleasure of the president. Perhaps you've heard the phrase, you halfwit, you dimwit. Just amazing. This guy. You can't remove an ambassador. That's an abuse of power. Demonstrating his incomprehensible ignorance or his incomprehensible dishonesty, and with a fake journalist sitting there with pursed lips, too dumb to know that what he just heard is completely off the rails, and that the person that he's talking to is a numbskull.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.